Trace Sells Your Place. I appreciate you guys and all the love and support from the last post, some comments, a lot of side text, saying how much you liked it and really inspiring, pushing me to pump out more of these videos. So today we've got a good one for you. You can see here, I've got my mentor, great friend, Mr. Carraway. And the two of us today are going to talk about setting goals. Now, setting goals is something that I can talk about for 10 hours straight. I think it's so important. I feel like if you get into life and you don't have goals, something to work for, to strive towards, you can get kind of lost. And goals for me over my sales career have just been the main difference. So we'll get into more of that in just a little bit. Without further ado, I want to introduce Brett. He is not only one of the area's best real estate agents, he's a great friend, he's an awesome husband and father to his little ones. He is a stand-up character in Charlotte and the surrounding areas, especially Belmont. So without further ado, Brett, I appreciate you jumping on, getting out of your comfort zone a little bit. Looking forward to this today. So
I appreciate it. What
is Brett's backstory? Tell the people kind of, why they should take you seriously and what are you all about?
So, from the real estate side, so I started with really liking architecture growing up. I took architecture classes. I went to East Carolina and that was, I'm going to be an architectural engineer. But then I decided that I wanted to sit behind a desk all the time and that it was more people. So, I started working in other businesses I graduated, I went to real estate school, and then in that I kind of transitioned into the nightclub business during that time. And that was when I was 26, and I stayed in that business until 6 years ago when I was still involved. But I got to that point that my son had been born, and I was looking for that next thing. I was like, all right, I went back to real estate school, I got my license, and here we are today.
Nice. So how long have you been in real estate?
So I got my license in May 6 years ago. So this May will be a full 6 years.
Okay, cool. And at what time did it come into your head to be like, all right, I want to take this a little more seriously, I want to get out of the nightclub scene, which you were very good at, and you started setting goals. Like, how did all that play into one another?
So I got my license in 2016, was still every day involved in the nightclub business. That business had allowed me to make a bunch of connections. And I knew that. I met a lot of people, knew a lot of people, and it was good. And then as I started, for those first couple of years, it was, usually it was kind of like a side business.
Yeah.
I had my full-time gig in the club, and this was something I liked, and it was a side business. But then 2016, 2017, kind of 2018 came, and I was getting married in 2018. My son was getting older to where he was starting basketball.
Yeah.
He started t-ball and soccer. And I wanted to be able to go to his games. His Saturday morning games were like 8 o'clock. If in the club business, I get home at 4. I don't want to be at my son's game at 8. That was the importance to me.
Yeah.
So 2018 is when I changed my focus. And I was like, all right, I want to commit to doing this and I want to do it right. I want to be able to put the club business and stay involved, but the day-to-day, I want my life in real estate.
Okay.
And with doing that, that's when I had to change my mindset of it. It was no longer a side business. I was coming from a business that had been very successful, and how do I supplement that? To supplement that, the real estate side has got to prevail.
Yeah.
And it's got to become to where I can support my family and whatnot. So in 2016 and 2017, I'd say, there wasn't really a lot of the goals. It was just extras for me.
Yeah.
In 2018, when the decision was made that I want to focus, it's like, all right, now I have to look at this as a career, not just an extra thing. And that's the year that I sat down and was like, all right, what do I need to do? How do I make this be a full business? And let's set real goals.
Yeah, so what was that first real goal?
The first, in 2018 when I sat down and made a real goal, I wanted to do, because in 2016 I'd had, I think 5 closings, my first year. 2017, I think there was 6, no, it was the next year I had 21 closings, which wasn't bad. It was a good year. And then 2018, during this, I had 16 closings. So I think I had 43 closings in 3 years, which was good, but if I'm gonna do this full time, then I've gotta get after it.
Yeah.
So, John just didn't come from anywhere. I was like, I wanna close 52 properties a year. I wanna close 1 a week for the year. And that was big coming from 5, 16, 20, but if I'm gonna make it full time, that's what I wanna do. So that was my goal. I took away I wanna sell X amount of properties, meaning like, I wanna sell $20 million, $25 million. It was all about, if I go after and try to sell 52 properties a year, then that goal is gonna be there. Because, the price points that, the average price points that I was working at, if I can get this, then the sales goal, the amounts would be there. And it kept me driven every week of the year. Because you're not gonna sell a property every week, all the time. So it was, if I sold 2 1 month, then I gotta go the next month and sell 6.
Yeah.
And I gotta work extra hard, but it's not, and you gotta always think that, well, maybe in 3 months I might not, so you can't let off the gas.
Yeah, and that's really important to consider is if you set goals and you don't hit them, that's okay, right? That's fine, but you've got to have that accountability check-in, maybe accountability partner or a vision board where it's in your face, day in and day out, and you take account for that spillover. So if you have a month where you're swinging and missing and you only get 2, you have to be able to reassess and be light on your feet and say, okay, what can I do different in this month to ramp up that volume?
True.
So that's really good, maybe a best practice with these goals. So you've told me, we've joked about several times, the 52 rule, and that, to me as a new agent, that sounds daunting, right? So I've had my license for I think like about 6 months now. I've got 2 deals, and you're joking around me in the office, okay, 50 more to go. That's crazy. So the steps that you took personally to achieve where you're at right now for, maybe a new broker starting out or someone who's been in the game for a while and is not hitting 52 a year, lay that out for them. Like, what should they start thinking about or assessing?
So the biggest thing, so here's what I did. When I did that, I took away, so when I first started, people worry sometimes about chasing these $1 million deals.
Right.
Everybody comes out, oh, I want to sell $1 million property.
Well, I think those TV shows, Bravo and $1 Million Listing and all that, those have had a big play. I found out very quickly, it's not like that at all.
It's not. Get that out of your mind starting out. Worry about doing transactions, doing them right, learning the business. I don't care if it's a $20,000 lot or if it's a $2 million house. Work it the exact same. Because those $100,000 buyers now, especially how the appreciation in the market is too, maybe $300,000 buyers in 2 years, or their brother, sister, friend, somebody. Worry about doing transactions and doing them right, pleasing the client, and then believe me, the transactions will get there.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, those first 3 years was a little bit. And then I changed that mindset to where I don't care if you have something for me to sell or if let's go do it.
Right.
And all of a sudden, we went from 16, 20 a year to 50, 55, 56 a year. And it stayed that way because I took away the thought about how much everything was and, I want to sell this, to let's go do right, let's get the transactions, and everything else fell in place from there.
Right, so very similar history. It's almost identical. I've been in the corporate world for the past 6 or 7 years. 6-figure salaries, 6-figure commissions, making really good money. Picked up real estate because it's a passion of mine. When I graduated high school, I wanted to go to college to either design houses or design cars. Fast forward, going to the restaurant industry, getting into sales, that didn't pan out. But growing up with a father who built homes, I've always been around real estate, and something is just pulling me to real estate. So you had that feeling as well. It's scary going from that cushy salary or not to toot my own horn, but being very good at sales and knowing that you can rely on that to something that's not really in your control. You can't force your mom to sell her house, or you can't force one of your friends or colleagues or whatever to buy a home from you. You've got to have that transition of, oh, this is Trace, Trace in your face to Trace sells your place, right? Those are my IG handles, go follow me. So starting out as, let's switch from you to me for a minute. Let's talk about my goals. We mentioned there's a breakdown that you do, and it's very similar to mine. You've got personal goals, goals that you should have for sales and volumes and the business aspect, but this new one came in, right? This new one, for the past couple of years, has just...
Well, I think it's the most important.
It's just booming,
yes.
Which is building your name brand, right? So there's goals around that. So let's talk about those 3 goals for a minute. You mentioned goal number 1 being personal. Last year in March, I turned 35, and I've got a wife, I've got 2 kids, I got 1 in the oven. I didn't know that at the time, but I said, you know what? I am so sick and tired of working in corporate world. There's just things that rub me the wrong way. Micromanaging, like all this stuff. I just was sick of it. So if you guys are feeling that way, and you're thinking about getting into real estate, this is where you should tune in right now. Like, focus on this. So I told myself, I don't care, hell or high water, when I turn 45, so 10 years, I want to be worth $10 million. That's not $10 million in the bank, that'd be nice, but a net worth. So, how do I achieve that? And, we both watch a lot of the same people, Ryan Serhant, Grant Cardone, Bigger Pockets Radio, The Broke Agent, like all these, very successful real estate moguls. Real estate's the way to go, right? I mean, what's your feedback there?
100%. And I don't say that because I'm in the business, but because I have seen it behind it. I've always been told that real estate's a great play. Until you see it every day, and you see it from, take my personal house. When I bought my house was a year before I started doing real estate. And to me, it was the best day personally. My kids, my wedding, all that was the best life days. But I felt so good that Beckham had just been born. I'm doing this for my family.
Yeah.
At that point, and then now, looking at, I've had my house for 7 years here in Belmont. It has doubled in value. So now, just by owning my own house, that's grown, $200,000.
Right.
So seeing that personally, and then seeing that now in the business, working with investors, working with clients who I may have sold a house to 2, 3, 4 years ago, that are now calling me like, my house is up X amount of money, and a person that we can sell their house and give them have that equity in their money.
Yes.
And then investors, people that, all right, well, I got a bonus or whatever it may be, that they had money and putting it in real estate, and now they went from the first house they bought as their investment, which was great. Property's grown, they refi and take that money, and now they bought property too.
Yeah.
And that's what, do this once a year, once every 2 years, whatever it may be. Think about 10, 20 years down the road. Like, my kids are 7 and 2. So I think about McKenna, my 2-year-old daughter. I'm not going to really make a whole lot of big changes in life until my daughter graduates probably. So I think about the next 16 years.
Yeah.
Investment properties are my mindset. How many properties can I acquire now and through the time before McKenna graduates? Because I'm not going to move or retire or anything like that. I don't think I'll ever retire. But still, until at least she's gone to college. So in the next 16 years, how can we build wealth through investment?
Yeah, so we were talking about, for me, one of my goals should be purchasing a rental property within the next year or so. And you broke down pretty clear a really good strategy that I had not thought about yet, which was the 10% rule. So you want to explain to the peoples what the 10% rule was?
Yeah, what I told Trace is, with him starting in real estate now, with him wanting to hit this mark that he's made for himself and his family, where he wants to be over the next 10 years. One, being in real estate is a great way to be there because he's in the business. You'll make money from the business, which is a great business to be in. He will learn the business and learn what are good investments and what maybe aren't the best investments, and to know where to put the money. And then also I talked to him about, as he's making the sales, take a portion of every commission that he makes, whatever it be. I said maybe 10%, and put that into a fund. And when you get X amount, and that's what your investment money is, because you'll support his family and everything, but this little bit put in there, and when that's built up, take it and buy an investment property. That's what that money is for, to go buy investments. And you're like, all right, well, I just made these deals, made the money, I bought number one. Keep doing it, and then buy number two. And then as you can learn the business and refinance and whatnot, then you're always having a side investment pot that's strictly for you buying investment properties, which at the end result is going to build that wealth.
Yeah, it's almost like a realtor's 401k.
Exactly. There you go. That's great.
Just way better. Because and we'll get into this in another episode all about rental properties. But as you've got a renter in your property, not only is that property appreciating and you've got great tax benefits and write-offs from that, but you've got someone paying off the note. So eventually, that's just income coming in. So you mentioned you don't want to retire. I want to retire tomorrow. I don't want to work anymore. I just want to golf all the time, right?
When my kid goes to college, I would love to move. And I had a post this morning that I told the people, and I was like, when my daughter graduates and I think about moving somewhere, eventually one day I want to move to a golf course community. I want to sell my car, and if I can't get there in my golf cart, then I don't want to go. I'm going to drive around and play golf.
Yep.
But I've got to be able to do that. We've got to do the steps now. Anyone does now, because it's not an overnight thing. So you got to take and plan it out 10, 15, 20, 30, however you are, and start now.
Yeah.
Whether it's starting very little now, or if it's jumping in full-fledged, everybody's going to be different. But you got to set those goals. Like, we're talking about goals for your real estate in most of this, but that's another goal. Like, there's the personal and life goals for anybody. What is that goal? Because it takes time.
Yeah.
And believe me, one thing I wish I'd started a lot sooner. And that's coming from me, who I just turned 40, that I wish that I had started years, like way before I did.
Straight out of high school.
Yeah, and I will, with both my kids, I will try to help them and teach them that, to know what I know now at a younger age. Because if I think about it, if I obviously don't come out of high school with a bunch of money, but if I had started taking, the 10% or whatever it is, and let it build, it would take a lot longer to build because you're not making as much money. But, getting a property at a young age, if I'd have been able to save enough and buy my first investment property at 25 years old, 30, whatever it is, now that I had it for 10 years ago, I would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars in that time. So starting as early as you can, and then letting it grow.
Yeah, take it from us. As you get older, you have these certain things. Like, man, I wish, they're not regrets. It's just, I wish I had done this sooner. You said when you come out of high school, you don't have a lot of money. What you do have is a ton of energy.
Yes.
So use that energy wisely. I always think, I partied a lot in my 20s. I partied a lot. You're in the club.
It's the same thing.
Whatever. I wish I used that energy instead of buying bottles and whatever to get into real estate or even like a brokerage fund or whatever. So I can get that 10 million in 10 years a little bit quicker. But Moving on to goal number 2, sales goals. So for 22, I got one of the books, right? I've got about 3 or 4 other clients right now who are looking to buy, most sellers. If you're looking to list your home, hit up Trace Sells Your Place. It's in the name, Trace Sells Your Place. Let's go, right? What's a good goal for me for this year, for 22?
So you want to be, you start out, so when I started, I didn't set that goal. I wish I had. So you want it to be something that you're always reaching to get.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to come out year 1 and set 52 year 1 and, sell 10, because that's a good number.
Yeah.
You sell 10, I sold 5 my first year. And I came into the business knowing everybody.
Yeah.
It's not something that's overnight, because you have to change people, you have to let people understand that you know the business. And that takes a little time.
It does.
Because you just come out and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you just got your license, let me give you this huge deal.
Because it's a huge,
Yes.
real estate's one of the biggest purchases that humans make, right? I mean, it's 400, 500, a million, 200,000 to some people is a ton of money.
And it's not a return. You can't just, like, you buy a t-shirt, like, oh, I don't like it, I'm gonna take it back to the store. That's not how this works. So, it's getting it, I would set 1 a month. I would set 12 for the first year and go after, and if it's 12 $100,000 homes, great. It does not matter. Don't think about the values. Think about learning the business from start to finish. Making sure you're spot on understanding the paperwork, the due diligence process, inspections, appraisals, so that you can speak to clients, and when they have a conversation with you about the process, you're just, and then people are like, oh, they really know stuff.
Yeah.
Because look, when people are going to want to work with you because it's you. You know, a lot of people love you, great guy. Now when people get to, he really knows the business, which you'll get to real quick, those numbers will take off.
Right.
But for now, it's get them under your belt, keep
It's
going
a
on, do this more, because this is a absolute amazing first step, and you'll get there.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about it, then we'll get to the 52.
Yeah, so speaking of doing this more, goal number 3 is growing that online presence, altering people's conception of you to where it's not just Trace, whatever y'all think of me. it's Trace the realtor, Trace, the real estate investor, that sort of stuff. That's what I'm going towards. How should I break that down? What's the best couple first steps there?
I think this is the most important part for a new agent.
And when you mention it's social media,
brand building, social media. And social media just happens to be the biggest part of brand building these days. Absolute biggest part. I think starting out as an agent, obviously you want to make sales because you want to get income. It's a job. So obviously that's important. But building your brand, and whether that brand new, however you want to phrase that, getting your name out there, building your network, and letting people know that you are in the business first off. Because just like me, I came from nightclubs. I was a nightclub guy, and then went to real estate. People got to realize that you're in the real estate space. So that is the biggest thing I think for agents now. Don't worry so much in the beginning about trying to sell everything there is. Worry about letting everybody know that you're in real estate. Posting great content. You doing this YouTube is perfect. Like, you're starting out great with this. Making sure it's good content. Not just the same old that you see from everybody else. I wouldn't say everybody else, I won't put it like that, but make it something different. And then you'll draw people.
Yeah. So one of my goals for YouTube is within the next fiscal year to get up to 10,000 subscribers. So good little plug right now. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and click that. I'll never say smash the subscribe button like everybody else does. So there you go. It's already different. Just please click the subscribe. And I promise you YouTubers, or people watching, that if I ask a question on here, y'all leave a comment or a suggestion, that I will make that content. I've got a long list, we've been working on it, of different videos, different ideas, topics. Just off my first video, which was just me in the car getting started. A lot of people have reached out and like, Trace, I want to be on this channel. Like, what can we talk about? Which is fantastic. Thank y'all to everybody you are who've reached out. So really good stuff coming out. Instagram, right now, TraceSellsYourPlace has 202 followers. That's up a few days, from a few days ago, from 191. And that's just off of a simple conversation that we had. And what was that advice that you gave me for Instagram?
So with Instagram, engage with people. People go through, and I catch myself doing this too. You'll just scroll through and like, and you're one of X amount of people that just like, we won't see that. And people want you to engage. So if somebody posts a picture, leave a comment. Engage. Go to a restaurant across the street that just opened 2 weeks ago. They posted their grand opening. I took it and shared it. Local scene. Do more than just like pictures. Okay? Leave people post pictures. They want tell them great. If it's a business success, congratulate them.
Yeah.
If they bought a new home and even whatever it was, congratulate them.
Yeah.
If they had a baby, congratulate. If they painted their house and you love it, tell them it's beautiful.
Great work. Yeah.
Get that engagement. Because one, it's just, that's what it's there for. It's not just to like and look at pictures, the way I think. And people want to see, it actually, people look at the comments, your name will come up in the comments, and all of a sudden, Trace sells your place.
Yep.
That's a real estate name. People will look at a picture and see that and like, oh, here's somebody else's real estate. Whether they know this is Trace's real estate or it's just an agent, it doesn't matter where they're from, you get a follow. Because I'll do that and I'll see another agent, if they post content, then I'm following them now.
Yep.
And now I'm engaged with it. And that right there, I think, is the best way to grow your Instagram page.
So just off of this advice, over the past 2 days, I've gained 10, 15 new followers, which is minuscule, right? But it's only 20 minutes of work. And the cool thing about it is now I see, instead of it just being a mindless scroll, which is, everybody does it now. Yeah. I'm so guilty of it. It's almost like it's part of work now. So before I go and double tap and like that picture, I know in order for me to double tap, I've got to leave a comment. So I think of the comment, and it's making me be more aware of what I'm looking at. I don't know, it's a weird paradigm shift now. It's like, instead of just zoning out and scrolling for days, it's actually, okay, I'm interacting. I may not know these people, they may live in Arizona or New York or wherever, but I'm having that interaction and they're following me, following back, and it's growing my brand. So now those people are going to know about Trace Sells Your Place YouTube channel and TraceSellsYourPlace.com and like all the stuff that I post on there. So
you asked me the other day, we were talking about other agents in other markets.
Yeah.
You may never meet these people. There's a couple things about it. One, agents post different content. And I'm not talking about like stealing somebody's content and changing, but great ideas, great posts, or they become people that you know. I have agents in other markets that I've never met face to face that have become friends, and if I have, I might think of something that I want to run by somebody, and I don't want to run it by somebody here, so I'll call them, or I just got a very big lead from an agent that I followed on Instagram and we've talked. We've engaged. I've messaged him congratulations when he has closings. He's messaged me, and he just sent me $1 million+ lead for here in Charlotte. Somebody I've never met, and it was just so
that's awesome.
It's growing. They're design ideas. There's another one.
Yeah.
When you're showing people, sitting with the clients, you got a client buying a home, and they're thinking about doing their painting and whatnot. As you're looking at your Instagram, send it to your clients. Because then, maybe they'll post and be like, great idea, Trace, and then you're on their story, or you're on their post. There's just engagement's key.
Yeah. I can't agree more with you on that. I think just seeing it firsthand. You know, there's an old saying, your network is your net worth, and it's a new day for that saying to be revamped, because we're so connected now. There's two other goals that I have for this branding. Kind of just keep them short. 5-star reviews. That's something that you said you wish you'd done a little bit sooner. Why?
So when I started, I didn't really, it just didn't click. I didn't think about it, and now I really wish I had, because when I started to do it it was on Zillow.
Yeah.
And I suggest, if you're a real estate agent, that Google is the place that I suggest. You might hear different people, whatever, but Zillow kind of comes and goes on people's thoughts on it. Google is where I try to get mine at now. You know, I've had almost 200 closings, and I think I have 50 reviews. If I had gone to every person, and my Google page right now, if it had 200 reviews, yep. And my Google right now only has, I think, 8, because I just switched from Zillow to Google. And if I had from day one, really, because if you do right by a client and you do well for them and you've had a good processing, then it takes them 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've never had a client that I actually thought about it, and I asked them and I gave them a link to leave me a review, that they didn't. Most of them were like 100%. And if it's a husband and wife, like, can we both leave
Yeah.
reviews? You know, of
So
course.
200 turns into 4.
Exactly,
Yeah.
if I had done that. And it's something that I'm cognizant of now that I do, but I didn't for so long, and I really wish I had.
Yeah, and you mentioned a cool idea is to, like, as a benefit of them leaving you a review and, you know, helping you out, donating a certain amount, $20, $50, $100 to a charity of their choice. I think it's a fantastic idea. Fantastic idea. 5-star reviews are critical. We did this, and what this means is that search engine optimization. You know, when you have those Google reviews, not only is it search engine optimization, but when I go and look for a realtor or a broker, whatever you want to call it, and they've got 200, 300, 400 5-star reviews, pretty likely that person knows their stuff.
Exactly.
Pretty likely. And another goal, I just want to throw it out there just to have documentation of it. North Carolina, South Carolina, where we're located in Charlotte, it's so close to the border, it makes so much sense to get your license in both states. That's a goal of mine for this year in 2022. So to wrap that up, to kind of just take a step back, you know, we've got our personal goals. It's kind of weird saying that out loud to, you know, people I know, strangers that are just seeing me first time. 10 million in 10 years.
Speak it into existence.
We got 9 more years to go. I'm turning 36 in 2 weeks. We've got, you know, 12, at least bare minimum 12 deals this year. You know, we got one, it's month 3, so I need to get to work. So if you're looking to buy or sell, TraceSellsYourPlace.com, TraceManning. We've got grow your brand. That's something that I'm working on day in, day out. You know, watching YouTube videos, learn how to edit videos. Hopefully this one will be that first attempt there. But those are the steps I'm gonna take immediately. Growing your Instagram, making sure I get those 5-star reviews. Brett, this has been amazing. I really appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
I want to make a plug now. So if you've ever bought or sold for Brett, go to his Google page and leave a review for him. All right?
Yes.
There's what, 192 more, y'all? That's amazing. Brett, where can people reach you at?
So my Instagram is Brett Sells Charlotte, SELLS. Some people still do SA. So Brett SELLS Charlotte. My email is brettsellscharlotte@gmail.com, or NorthStarCarolinas.com is our company website, but you can find the agents, the listings, and everything here.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time, brother.
Appreciate it.
It's been awesome. One take. If you've made it this far, we did this in one take.
I
We didn't
I
cuss.
lost that bet.
We didn't cuss. We didn't do anything wrong. Like, this is awesome. So please like this video if you made it this far, or subscribe and leave a comment of what you want to see next. I'll make sure to give you some feedback on it. Trace Sells Your Place channel here, Instagram and website. Holler at your boy.